Our next inductee's accomplishments have helped revolutionize the sport in a way that we follow it. Keep up with the news. He was born in Germany. He began an amateur career boxing out of Gene Spidermock's gym in North Hollywood, California. I can remember growing up as a boxing fan, 70s, 80s, early 90s. I scoured the newspaper. I bought piles of boxing magazines that still sit in my garage. Even watching SportsCenter on ESPN to find out the latest news on boxing. Well, that all changed in the late 1990s with the introduction of a little thing we know as the internet. No, he didn't create it, but he was a big part of it when it comes to the world of boxing. He started a website that is universally recognized for the most up-to-the-minute boxing information possible, fightnews.com. He may be the most prolific boxing writer ever, as he has penned more than 84,000 boxing articles and profiles. He does all of his fine work from Vero Beach, Florida. His efforts have brought enjoyment and satisfaction to the millions of boxing fans who enjoy his website every day around the world. It's my honor to welcome to the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame, class of 2011, boxing writer and founder of FightNews.com, Carl Freitag.
What's that music? Well, it's a great honor and a great privilege to be included among all these boxing luminaries. I want to thank the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame for acknowledging my small contribution to the sport. Before Fight News, boxing media was pretty much in the dark ages. There was terrible news coverage, limited TV. A lot of fights were only reported in the local papers. There was no good national media coverage. International fights, if they were big enough, would be in Ring Magazine maybe 3 months later. It was really terrible. And I got the idea of putting it all together, using the power of the internet, the immediacy and of the electronic media to kind of pull all this information together and put it out real fast. And the site was an overwhelming success. The page grew in popularity very, very quickly. Originally, most of the information we just picked up from various online newspapers or offline newspapers and media sources. We'd get results by any way possible, off television, personally attending the fights. I can't tell you how many times that I would call a fight venue or a casino and try to track down anybody there. Lots of times it would be a security guard or anybody and have them bird dog the results for us. And we got results out way faster than anyone. Lots of fights no one even had any reporters at. So it was a real phenomenon. And after a while, it got kind of interesting because managers, promoters, trainers, boxers, and other people in the business would start contacting us directly. So instead of just compiling the results from various places, we were breaking news stories ourselves. And we had some pretty big scoops, and it was a pretty big paradigm shift in the sport, I think. And the site grew, and then we started putting together correspondents and sending them out to cover the fights live. And so we were getting results really fast, results of undercard fights that no one reported. If big fights were on TV, even if there was major fighters on the undercard, nobody would report that, and we started putting that stuff out in real time as the fights happened, so the site became the go-to place for live results. Then this led to a new problem as far as credentials and seating at fights and things, because the guys that worked for the newspapers didn't like an internet guy being taking their spots and fighting for the best ringside seats and with the credentials. And these guys work on deadlines. They had to get that story in by 10 o'clock or midnight or whatever. Meanwhile, our guys were calling it in, and we had the results out right away, so we scooped them over and over and over. And I guess Nowadays, we're all internet writers, so those days are over, and the internet people have a lot more, are welcomed a lot more than they were. We've done a lot of things. We did early boxing webcasts, round by round live text updates. We did live webcasts. One of the things we did, I feel we really cleaned up the sport, almost revolutionized it in the terms of transparency in the sport. In the old days, a promoter or a manager could call Fight Facts and tell them, yeah, my guy fought in Mexico and he beat this guy. And you know, sometimes they'd build up a few extra fights that didn't really happen. But with us, all of a sudden, if there was a fight and anyone was fighting anywhere, we got those results out there, and it kind of ended that hanky-panky. So, you know, we try to help the industry. We try to keep a positive spin on things. We don't do a lot of negative commentaries on the sport. We don't trash the sanctioning bodies, et cetera, et cetera. We interview boxers, trainers, advisors, managers. We cover all the fights, big and small. We get international fights from Indonesia, Thailand, Australia, Japan, Russia. I mean, we got correspondents there that text us on their cell phones. We get real-time results unbelievably fast, and it's really changed. Some people call me a workaholic. I started the site in June 1999, and every day I've posted at least some stories, so it's kind of a Lou Gehrig, Cal Ripken kind of a streak I've got going here. I've already got 4 up today. But I wouldn't trade it for the world. Fight News has allowed me to be in places, do things, meet people, be intimately involved in a sport that we all love in a pretty terrific way. And you know, I invest the better part of every waking moment of the last decade and a few odd years. And I have to say, I couldn't have done it by myself. I have to acknowledge the help of my wife, Donna Freitag, webmaster and designer Kurt Freitag, assistant editor Brittany Freitag, our managing editor Scott Flattop Pope, and many other talented individuals who have been with the site for more than a decade, including Chris Cozone, Francisco Salazar, Ray Wheatley, Rick Scharnberg, Matt Richardson, Gary Digital Williams, Ed Mulholland, Big Joe Miranda, Boxing Bob Newman, Joe Kazumi, Gabriel F. Cordero, Damrong Sinkajorn Boone, Dave Spencer, Jeff Pamunkas, Nick Yanko, Ron Jackson, and I apologize for any more that I didn't mention. It was a team effort. And I just want to say that the internet has really revolutionized the sport. We're starting to get a lot of fights on webcasts now that aren't on regular TV. And more we're going to be able to see fights online, and as the TV becomes the internet, and the internet becomes your TV, and they're going to merge together, and I'm just glad to be part of it. Thank you very much.